Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? Everything okay? Good? Tell me where you guys are tuning in from. Please tell me in the comments right now where you're watching from. What town are you in? What city are you in? What country are you in? And of course, for the Americans, when I ask them where are you watching from, they say their state. So which state are you in? There we go. The chat is exploding. Siberia, Beirut, Moscow, Tel Aviv. You're funny. Florida, Hashville. You mean Nashville? Somebody needs to work on their typos here. You're gonna get people looking that up now. UK, London, Queensland, Detroit, Bayern, Czech Republic, London, California, Tunisia, Quebec, England, Spain, New Zealand, France, Texas, Chicago, Denmark. Look at this. There's not a city nor a country on the map that isn't in this chat. You guys are amazing. And you know what we need to do? We need to start like, I don't know, there needs to be a tiny world map next to me. And every time I read your city, it just goes off. But actually, I can't read them all. There are too many. So it'll just have to take them from the chat. Anyway. Man, what's happening in Gaza is horrific. What's happening in Gaza is horrific, and every May, July, whatever it is, they always do this. But it's not about what month it is. It's much more intricate than that, because what you're hearing in the news right now, they're telling you, oh well, this is because of Palestinian Islamic Jihad. No, let me. I'm going to take you guys through this and explain what's going on. Give me a second. I'm going to break this down thoroughly, very thoroughly, as usual, as we usually do on here. Okay. Yeah. And of course, my favorite is like both sidesing it. Like, oh, it's both sides, like it's both sides. There are 0 dead Israelis and 24 dead Palestinians. It's both sides. Both sides need to chill. All right, man, let's break this down. Let's go through this. Let me tell you what's happening in Gaza. These horrific sights that we're seeing. As of now, so again, this is about midnight CEST time. So crossing over into the 8th of July. Currently, you have around 24 dead Palestinians and zero dead Israelis. But of course, it's both sides. And I want to show you what's happening and why it's happening, because this violence did not just come out of nowhere. So a few days ago, there was a story in the news which I can guarantee you was not on the front page of Western newspapers. The Israelis, they carried out a raid, and they arrested this guy over here. Okay, so that's Bassam Saadi. They arrested him with his son-in-law, and a 17-year-old teenager was killed. So a Palestinian. Right? And they arrested this guy because he's in Islamic Jihad, okay? And I'll tell you about Islamic Jihad in a moment, as the Palestinian Islamic Jihad as the group and the organization. So they carried out a raid and arrested this guy. You following me? What happens next? Well, yesterday there was an assassination. Okay, so the Israelis, I'm going to show you the video because they published it. Like, they're so shameless. They fired at a building and killed another commander. Here, this is the headline you can see. They killed Taysir Jabari. Okay, so this is his picture over here. I just wanted to pull this up so you can see who we're talking about. So he's from the same organization, right? Palestinian Islamic Jihad. And they killed him, right? So Bassam arrested, and this guy Jabari assassinated. Now, when I say assassinated, they didn't just kill him. So this is one guy. To get one guy, do you know what the Israelis did? They killed 11 other Palestinians and wounded 75. Right? And then they have the gall, they have the stones to say, oh, we are the most moral army in the world. Moral, they call themselves. And they call others terrorists. Again, I'm going to repeat this. To get one guy, the Israelis killed 11 other Palestinians and injured 75 other Palestinians. So for them, that's acceptable, right? You know, Arabs, we're just collateral. That's how it is. Arabs, they're just collateral. They're not human beings. And by the way, when I describe to you a massacre, this is really a massacre. This is basically standard Israeli practice. This is not something that just, came out of nowhere yesterday for Taysir Jabari. No. It's standard Israeli practice. They don't care. And it's almost like describing the U.S. drone war in a nutshell, right? Obama just bombing a funeral, bombing a wedding, whatever. Yeah, it's okay if you kill 75 people or injure 75 people. We thought this guy was there. They can't even get them. Right? They can't even get these guys. And when I say get these guys, it's so funny, like this whole rhetoric, like as if, the Americans are the good guys, right? It's like cowboys and Indians. There are the good guys and the bad guys, right? It's the cops and the mob. You have good guys and bad guys. And we got to do whatever it takes to get the bad guys because they're bad. Really? Who gave you the right to be judge, jury, and executioner? Where's the rule of law? Where's the due process? The Americans, the Israelis, they talk about democracy, and then they'll just go and assassinate someone. They'll just go massacre him, right? And kill other people as well. Did you try this guy? Did you indict him? Was there a trial that I didn't hear about? What's going on here? You go to another country to murder people? It's incredible. Look at the video. They published the video. Now you tell me what's going on here. You got a pair of eyes? Look at this video. What's going on here? This is published by the Israelis. Are those residential buildings or residential buildings? So they basically fired at a residential building to get this guy, one guy. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I mean, look at that. Oh my God. Look at that. Look at this indiscriminate terrorism, this violence. Oh my God. If a Palestinian did that in Israel, they'd be screaming at high heaven, right? If someone did that to the Americans or the Israelis, they wouldn't fucking never shut up about it, right? But it's okay for them to do it to others, and then they call them terrorists. All right, so I'm just bringing you up to date on what's going on. I was gonna, I was gonna save my ranting for the end, but I cannot look at this and not rant. And it's not about being subjective versus objective. I'm being very objective. I am giving you the information, and based on the information, I'm offended. I am being objective. How can you look at this and not be offended and disgusted? I told you, the Israelis think this guy's a terrorist. And, well, there is no side from the Palestinians. You're just watching them get massacred. Here's some of the aftermath of that attack. I'm going to zoom in on that so you can see. It's just a short video. My God. Here's some more footage from the distance. All to get one guy. So, Jabari, that's his name, Taysir Jabari. And that's the red line for PIJ. When we say PIJ, we're saying Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Let's just say Islamic Jihad for short. Now, when this happens, I'm going to recap. They arrested one of their commanders, and now they've assassinated one of their commanders. And so that's when the Palestinians are like, okay, you want to start violence? We can also do violence. And this is from last night. They've so far until now, so within the this is 24 hours now, give or take, they fired 400 rockets at the Israelis. Okay? This is from last night. I mean, it's not. There's so many rockets. It's just blobs now. You can't even see the individual rockets. This is basically a barrage of rockets. Okay. Now, like I said, so far they fired 400. I don't know of any Israeli that has been killed. The Israelis, of course, when you have the backing of the United States and the Western world, you get to have very nice toys, right? You get to have very nice things like Iron Dome that can shoot down those rockets. But of course, when you're the Palestinians and you dare to resist, you're a terrorist. So the latest
carried out a precise.
Oh, you shut up. So far, this is what I have for you. Okay, they have basically, I think it was two Israelis have been wounded, and I think those, from what I gather, those are soldiers, and it's shrapnel wounds, but no deaths, right? So I'm telling you what's happening on both sides here. I'm going to give you the Israeli Prime Minister. Remember, before we had Netanyahu, then we had Bennett, and now we have Lapid, Yair Lapid. So it's his turn, right? Yeah, that's the thing. They take turns. So this is what he has to say about all this. This is the Israeli Prime Minister.
Israel carried out a precise counter-terror operation against an immediate threat. Our fight is
okay. Hold on. Counter-terrorism operation? You fucking blasted 3 residential buildings. Is this your video or is this not your video? You call this a counter-terror operation? That looks like terror to me. Even if you want to say, look, man, this guy is a bad guy, they had to take him out. Yeah, and the civilians, what about that? How do you explain the 11 dead and the 75 injured and the buildings blown apart? It's not a very nice experience to be woken up to that or have to live through that. I can tell you, it's not a very nice experience. But okay, so I apologize for cutting him off. I'll let him finish.
Carried out a precise counter-terror operation against an immediate threat. Our fight is not with the people of Gaza. Islamic Jihad is an Iranian proxy that wants to destroy the state of Israel and kill innocent Israelis. The head of Islamic Jihad is in Tehran as we speak. We will do whatever it takes to defend our people.
Man, if you do that to me, I'd also be in Tehran asking for help. I mean, the Israelis, they're so funny, right? They're like, they always paint themselves as the victims no matter what. What did he say? He said Islamic Jihad is an Iranian proxy trying to destroy the state of Israel. Okay, let's put this another way. Israel is a European proxy trying to destroy Arabs and Palestinians. It sounds a bit more accurate, right? Colonizers and colonizers. The Palestinians, just let me take Yair Lapid. This guy was just speaking, the Israeli Prime Minister. This guy's from Hungary, right? Originally, his grandparents or parents from Hungary, from Romania. Did the Palestinians go to Hungary and Romania and attack you? Why are you in Palestine? Who said you can be the Prime Minister? What are you doing here? This is unbelievable. This colonial mentality, right? And it's the same thing with all of them. Bennett, the guy before him, is an American. Netanyahu, Polish, Ukrainian. They all come from Europe and the United States and kill Arabs and then claim they're the victims. It's fucking amazing. Amazing. So this is from Al Jazeera. We're going to go through a bunch of updates that they have here, right? So this is from 2 hours ago. Gaza death toll rises to 24, as I told you. And this is, the source is the Palestinian Ministry of Health. This is from a few hours ago. There was another attack. This was in Jabalia, okay? Over here, Jabalia. So that's also in Gaza. And you have 5 Palestinians killed, 3 children. Again, let me so again, these 3 children, they were killed a few hours ago. Yesterday, when they assassinated Jabari, among those 11 killed, there was a 5-year-old girl. Apparently, she's a terrorist. She had to go. Right? They'll say that she was in Hamas or something like that. Yeah. All right. They always have an excuse to kill Palestinians. We get it. Yeah. Okay. I love the both sides of this, right? So if you look at the headline in NPR, they say Israel and Gaza militants exchange fire. Exchange fire? Like this passive voice, right? Not like, oh, Israel assassinated a guy in Palestine, right? A senior commander, and the Palestinians responded. No, we can't say that. It's just the Israelis, Palestinians. They're always fighting with each other. Maybe it's a religion thing or something. I don't know. They're exchanging fire. Here, Fox News. They're exchanging fire. Oh my God. What else do we have? What is this over here? Oh yeah, I wanted to show you this very important statement. So this is from the, you guys might remember I interviewed Michael Link. Michael Link was the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Palestine, on the occupied territories. Okay. And of course, because he was objective and just reported the truth. They called him anti-Semitic and they tried to attack him. And this is his replacement. So she is now the special rapporteur, right? And I'm talking about Francesca Albanese. So she said about these attacks, quote, I condemn Israel's airstrikes in Gaza to allegedly deter Islamic Jihad's possible retaliation for its leader's arrest. As international law only permits the use of force in self-defense, Operation Breaking Dawn is a flagrant act of aggression. Illegal, immoral, irresponsible. So what she mentioned just now, Operation Breaking Dawn, this is what the Israelis are calling their so-called counter-terrorism operation, where they just kill 24 Palestinians and then blame it on Palestinians. So that's what they're calling it. And I love this logic. It's kind of like the Bush Doctrine, right? What was the Bush Doctrine during those days? Is that, the United States is to destroy the enemies of the United States in advance because they will eventually attack the United States based on something. It's like Minority Report, right? You're a criminal because in the future you're going to commit a criminal act, so we have to arrest you in advance. And that's the Israelis, right? They arrest, like I told you, one Palestinian commander one commander in Palestinian Islamic Jihad. So they arrested Bassam Saadi, and then they assassinated Jabri. And to prevent the Palestinians from retaliating, they have to attack the Palestinians because Palestinians are not allowed to defend themselves, right? I love this logic. We have to deter them from defending themselves. We have to deter them. Wow. I can tell you one thing. The response from the resistance is very different from Fox News and NPR and whatever else. And here's what's going on, because the Israeli Prime Minister, you heard him saying that the head of Palestinian Islamic Jihad, right, Ziad Nakhle, is in Iran. That's true. He just visited Iran, so the capital, Tehran. But there's something else going on at the same time. What is going on? The nuclear talks. So the Iran nuclear talks have just started again in Vienna, right? And as a side note, again, I'm one of the only people on the ground independently covering it. So I have a whole playlist about the Iran nuclear deal. It's also called the JCPOA. I have a whole playlist on the channel. I interviewed the Russian ambassador, the deputy foreign minister of Iran, who's also the chief negotiator, Professor Merendi, just lots of great interviews in there, and insight on what the nuclear talks are about and what the nuclear deal is about. And the Israelis don't like the nuclear deal, all right? They really don't like it. And this might seem weird to you, because if all you've heard is that Iran is building a nuclear bomb, and the nuclear deal is meant to stop Iran from building a nuclear bomb, then why would Israel not like the nuclear deal? Right? It's a good thing. It stops Iran from building a nuclear bomb. Well, I tell you why they don't like it, because basically the nuclear deal allows Iran to be normal. It allows Iran to engage in trade with the rest of the world. It allows Iran to export its oil, to sell it abroad, right? I don't know why, but apparently Iran needs permission from this, That's how imperialism works. But the deal is that the Iranians, they put limits on their nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. The Israelis don't want that. They want Iran to be isolated, because right now, for example, Iran cannot sell its oil on the global market. Iran is still selling the oil, by the way. Don't worry. It just gets relabeled, or it goes to China, or it goes to Venezuela, and so on. Countries that actually have brains. But basically, officially, Iran's oil sector, they've been targeted by sanctions. And if you go look at that famous BBC graph that I've shown you, you can see that the oil output just, drops by half after Trump leaves the deal and he puts sanctions on Iran. And of course, the banking sector. So, you can't send money or receive money from an Iranian bank. They're like nuclear, no pun intended. You can't touch them. It's a hot potato. Can't touch it. And basically there are so many big companies. I'm talking like giant, French automobile giants, telecommunications giants that have invested in Iran and lost billions of dollars because of Trump, because of the nuclear deal. He left it, right? And of course, who is behind that? It's the Israelis. They pushed Trump. Trump was such a good gift for the Israelis. He gave them so much. And that's what it's about. The Israelis want Iran to be isolated, both figuratively and quite literally in terms of its oil and banking sector. That's what this is about. That's why they hate the nuclear deal. And again, there's no proof that Iran is actually building a nuclear bomb. You could maybe argue that up until 2003, so before 2003, but since then, you just can't say that. It's just, I don't know what to tell you. They followed the nuclear deal. They're still in it, by the way. Like when you hear Blinken say, oh, Iran have to follow the nuclear deal. Iran, what do you mean? You are not in the nuclear deal. Iran is. And that's why the Israelis are now attacking Gaza. Okay, this is the logic. They're sending a message to Iran and to the other parties that are negotiating with the nuclear deal that we don't like that. That's what they're doing. So they've gone and attacked PIJ, so Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Let me tell you about Palestinian Islamic Jihad. So this is basically a resistance group. Okay, they of course they say terrorists, whatever. I mean, when you're occupying someone's land and they resist, yeah, you're going to call them a terrorist. But PIJ is a couple of decades old. It was formed in the 80s, and it's based in Damascus, of course, right? Syria. One of the reasons why Syria was destroyed is being destroyed still in this 10-year war is because Syria still supports the resistance. Always has, right? Now I know. You can definitely make some arguments that there are times Damascus didn't give Palestinians the support they wanted or needed. But generally speaking, Syria refuses to normalize ties with Israel and helps Hamas, Hezbollah, PIJ do their things, right? They allow them to build, to establish headquarters. That's what PIJ did, right? So their headquarters they're based in Damascus. And the leader, right, he just went now to Tehran. So we're talking about Ziad Nakhleh. And that's why he's saying, oh, their leader is in Tehran. This is a proxy of Iran. And their logic is, okay, well, if you're backed by Iran, and they are, Iran proudly supports PIJ, then we're going to attack you to send a message to Iran, to send a message about the nuclear deal. So they took advantage of this to be like, okay, you know what, we're going to ramp things up because the nuclear talks are going on. And that often this is what often happens. You can go back and see some of my videos that, when Israel carries out assassinations or bombings, it's because of the nuclear talks. They're trying to sabotage the nuclear talks. I don't know if they actually can at this point. The United States pretty much sabotaged them themselves. But regardless, this is what it's about. So what's going on in Gaza is certainly connected to the nuclear talks. That's one thing, right? And of course, the Israelis, they're a bit confused because Hamas is the governing body in Gaza, in Gaza. Okay? So once again, Hamas is a political party and it has a military wing. PIJs, their military wing is the Quds. And my point is that when you look at what's going on now with Ziad Nakhleh in Damascus, with the nuclear talks, of course he's there. Of course, Nakhleh is going to go to Tehran because they're proudly backed by Iran. This is not a surprise. Look at the headline over here from Press TV. Look what they say. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps. So again, when we say IRGC, we're talking about the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. We'll just say Guard Corps for short. So the head of the Guard Corps said that Israel is going to pay a heavy price for these violent attacks on Gaza. All right, this is from just a few hours ago. This is the quote. Undoubtedly, the swift response of the Palestinian Islamic resistance to such a crime proves that a new era has begun for the resistance to take power, and the Zionists will pay yet another heavy price for their recent crime. And I just want to go back to my point that Hamas is the governing body in Gaza. They're not saying anything. There were reports a couple of months ago that Hamas was not happy with other groups, other militant groups, resistance groups in Gaza firing rockets or balloons because they just weren't happy with that. Right now, they're not saying anything. They're basically turning a blind eye and letting PIJ do its thing. They're like, you know what? We don't even have anything against that. Go ahead, fire the volley of rockets. Like I said, these videos are stunning. It's nuts. I mean, the amount of rockets being fired. Look at that. It's truly a barrage, a volley of rockets. And so Hamas are not saying anything. Hamas are cool with this, and it's quite important to talk about this, because you have a united front basically between all the groups in Gaza right now, which you don't see all the time, right? It's normal. You can still have a unified resistance, and then inside that unified resistance, not everybody agrees with each other all the time. It's like having a marriage or a family or whatever. It's normal. But here, right now, everybody agrees with each other, right? Hamas are cool with this. They're letting PIJ do its thing, and they believe that they have the right to respond. And they're not going to interfere, they're not going to intervene, and they're not going to stop it. But at the same time, when I say Hamas are okay with it, Hamas are not firing their own rockets or anything like that. They're just turning a blind eye, you could say. I want to say another thing, because when we talk about the resistance, we shouldn't forget the other elements. Syria, as I mentioned, supports the resistance by allowing the arms to come through, by allowing them to establish bases there, or headquarters rather. And the Iraqi resistance, the Yemeni resistance, have come out and expressed their support today, just a few hours ago. Again, this is all breaking news. They've come out and expressed their support for the Palestinians, right? So this is from Yemen. They say the headline is from Al Mayadeen English. They say that Ansar Allah announces support of Palestinian resistance, and they strongly condemn the Israeli aggression on Gaza. Hezbollah, just earlier there was a speech by Nasrallah. When Nasrallah speaks on the television, everybody shuts up and watches, right? In Syria and Lebanon and so on. When I say everybody, I don't mean literally everybody, but most families will be glued to the TV. So this is very important, right? And when there's something huge happening like this assault, this Israeli aggression on Gaza, he comes and gives his opinion, and gives not his opinion, rather a warning, because this is what he told the Israelis straight up, that this is a crime, that it's a massacre, and that they're ready to support them if necessary. Okay? So Nasrallah, who's the head of Hezbollah, said that, quote, any honorable person will condemn this attack. Many Arab countries and regimes remain silent. This is very important what he says here. It is the right of the resistance and the Palestinian people to respond to the Israeli attack in any way and at any time and place they choose. Silence in the face of this act of terror will pave the way for more acts of terror. That's true. When you have a bully and you don't respond to that bully, they're just emboldened, unfortunately. And again, let me be very clear. I don't condone violence. I'm against war. But you can't, just say that, oh, well, we have to punch the Palestinians in the face and walk all over them, kick them, and then just, when they resist, that's terrorism. Are you high? Or these headlines on Fox, like, oh, they're exchanging fire. Well, what is this passive voice? Or NPR writing the same thing. Most Western, outlets writing the same thing. Like, there's something happening there. I saw smoke. What? They just assassinated someone in Palestinian Islamic Jihad. What did you think was going to happen? But I want to go back to that line from the quote from Nasrallah, where he says that many Arab countries and regimes remain silent. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's true. So what have I just told you in the last few minutes? That the Yemeni resistance, the Iraqi resistance, Syria, Iran, and Hezbollah, they've all come out, condemned this, and said, we are ready to support you in any way possible. Okay, what about the Arab countries? What the hell? There are a lot of Arab countries, dozens. Where's Saudi Arabia's condemnation of this? Are they going to offer their support? Huh? Where is everybody else? Where's the UAE? Huh? Where's Morocco? Where is Libya? That hurts, man. Where is Libya? Destroyed. They destroyed it. They destroyed Libya. And again, you know why? Because Gaddafi was with the resistance. You know, I'm not saying the guy was perfect. I'm not saying he didn't do bad things. But generally speaking, that guy was anti-imperialism, like legit. You know, you're fighting an oppressor, he will send you weapons and everything he's got. But my point is that you know, not many Arab countries are coming out and supporting. Now, I think Egypt and Tunisia, they have condemned it. But again, this is breaking news, and I'm covering it as it's developing. So if I miss one country, or I miss one development that's happening while I'm live, you know, I'm trying to keep track of all of them. So, you know, excuse me, just needed a bit of coffee. You know, another thing that this reminded me of, when we look at this video, this assassination by the Israelis, that it's happening in you know, they're bombing residential buildings. They've done this in Syria as well, right? So, for example, they assassinated Samir Qantar in Jaramana because he was part of the resistance. And again, Jaramana is like really tightly packed, you know, residential area, you know, poverty-stricken, to put it mildly. But I love it, and you know, it's it's not the nicest part of Damascus. I still love it. But my point is that it's very, you know, if you assassinate one guy, you're going to hurt other people in Jaramana because the buildings are so close to each other. Everything is so tightly packed. And that kind of speaks to my point of how indiscriminate the Israelis are, right? They always... Have you seen that movie by Spielberg? You remember that movie by Munich, I think it was called. And you know, there's this scene where the Mossad, they see that, oh, this little girl is going to get blown up by the bomb that we planted to take out this guy. And then they're all running like crazy. Oh my God, we have to stop the bomb before the little girl. That's such propaganda, like trying to you know, show the Mossad as caring about hurting civilians. They don't give a fuck. Have you seen the number of assassinations they've done, where they've just, like, you know, to kill one guy, they've like blown up 11 people and injured I don't know how many others. This is normal. Whether it's the Israeli, you know, the occupation forces or the Mossad, it's normal. God, that was such awful propaganda in that movie, really. Anyway. Just going back to what's happening right now in Gaza, just to give you the latest, I'm going to quickly transition to the page on Al Jazeera. They have some bullet points, right? So, like we said, we have 24 dead so far. Allah yarhamah. And you know, who knows how many more injured. They when we talked about the initial attack, we said that 75 were injured. They're saying here that one of the 24 people killed was a 23-year-old woman and 6 children. And they say here 125 Palestinians have been injured. Okay, so this is the latest. 24 killed, 6 of them were children. One of them was a 23-year-old woman. And one of them was a commander of a Palestinian armed group. And 125 Palestinians have been injured by the Israeli attacks. Right? So this is as of midnight on the 7th, on the 8th of July now. One thing that nobody ever thinks of is the effect that this has on, you know, you think of a war, you say, oh, how many were injured, how many were killed? One thing nobody thinks of is how many were mentally affected by this, psychologically. You know, how many are going to have mental scars because of this trauma, PTSD, depression, anxiety. No one ever quantifies this because you can't. That is near to impossible to quantify, right? So I just urge you guys to think of the mental scars, the mental injuries that people suffer. Just because they're fine physically doesn't mean they're okay inside, right? You got to consider there are families now that have, you know, had somebody killed. Someone's gone now forever. Right? Or somebody who's injured and their family, you know, is affected by that permanently, or some, you know, mentally affected by that. And you have, you know, just onlookers, neighbors, people that live there that are affected by this mentally. Never forget that. And here they're saying about how many families have been displaced, right? So according to the United Nations, 40 families. Sorry, I apologize. Every time I try to highlight something, it scrolls up. 40 families, 40 families displaced since August 5th. So they say 40 families have been displaced since Israel launched an attack on Gaza in the last 24 hours, basically. And the Palestinian Ministry of Public Works and Housing confirmed that 650 housing units have been partially damaged. 29 of them are uninhabitable, 11 are totally destroyed. Again, these are important statistics that you should always pay attention to. This video, honestly, if I were the Israelis, I would not have released this. If I were the Israelis, God forbid. But my point is that why did they release this video? To show that they bombed residential buildings? We know that. But it's shocking that they did, because they're telling on themselves. They're really telling on themselves with this video that they are indiscriminate. And going back to the updates that we have from Al Jazeera, medical supply shortages, that's another problem. Israel stopped the plan to transport a fuel into Gaza before it struck on Friday, crippling the territory's lone power plant and reducing electricity to a few hours per day, and drawing warnings from health officials. So, did you hear what I just read? Gaza's lone power plant. Yes, you heard that correctly. Gaza has one power plant, because the Israelis have made sure that, it's basically on the verge of collapse. And when I say on the verge of collapse, it's already collapsed. They have bombed Gaza into oblivion. This is in 2009, 2014, and they control what goes in, right? So the Israelis who are claiming they are victims, counter-terrorism, they hate us. They control what the Palestinians are allowed to have. They basically have them living in rubble, and the parts of Gaza that have not been bombed or destroyed yet don't have electricity, because they have reduced it to one power plant, and then they don't let the fuel go in because it needs fuel to run. Just awful. I mean, this is just, this is terrorism, man. This is constant misery inflicted on the Palestinians by the Israelis. And that's all I have for you right now, guys. But again, I would just urge you to think of the nuclear talks in Vienna. And of course, I will have more coverage on the nuclear talks as they develop. Exclusive coverage, exclusive interviews that you won't get anywhere else. As far as I know, I'm the only person covering this independently. You see other papers and channels, but independents, I don't know, not to my knowledge. In any case, I will have on the ground exclusive coverage for you, and it's really interesting to see how something so far away can have an effect on what's going on there. So the Israel basically bombing Gaza to send a message to Iran, to send a message to the world that we do not like these nuclear talks, because lifting sanctions on Iran means that Iran can be allowed into just allowed to exist, basically. People won't have to live under the brutal effect of sanctions. They that's what Israel wants. They want Iran to be isolated. They want people in Iran to suffer, to have the banking sector, the oil sector targeted, meaning that I can't go into, I'm not going to go into the whole effect of sanctions. I've done that a million times in other videos, but just let me put it this way. My cousins told me that they would rather live under the bombs than the sanctions. That's how bad they are. And that effect is being felt in Venezuela, in Iran, in Cuba, in Syria, in places where, these countries are sanctioned because Washington doesn't like the politicians there or the system there. And so Israel wants Iran to continue to be isolated and a pariah in the international community. So that's why they're bombing Islamic Jihad, and they of course want to cripple the Palestinians and use any chance they can to assassinate people in the resistance against Israeli colonialism. It's very sick. Any more updates? I'm going to have them right here for you on the channel. So let me just go through your comments, guys. I see we've got 1,500 people watching, but only 1,000 likes. Come on, there's 400 of you that have not hit the like button. So please hit the like button, guys. It's very important. And I'm going to check just very quickly here. Okay, I hope to have some spicy... spicy, it's not spicy. Just good stuff for you next week. I'm not going to spoil what it is, though. Where are you guys tuning in from? You know, where are you guys tuning in from? There are a lot of you that tuned in while I was speaking about what's happening in Gaza. Tell me in the comments right now, where are you tuning in from? Where are you watching from? What town are you in? What's your city? Let me shout you guys out. Thank you for the super chat, Safe, and I'm gonna look at the other super chats that we have. Some of you have sent in donations with questions and comments. If you'd like to support the show, please scan the QR codes. You can donate on PayPal or CashApp, and of course, other than that, you can just join up on Patreon, where you can donate $2 a month, whatever you like. It's up to you. You can put whatever amount you like, and just $2 a month, $1 a month would really help the channel. When we're covering stuff that's happening, in Gaza, I can tell you something. Saying things that are critical of Israel, critical of the United States, they don't like that on YouTube. They don't like that in the algorithm on the big tech platforms. So I really need your help to make sure that I can keep doing my work, because they'll try to throttle the videos or limit the monetization. So we have to fight them by liking the video, which then promotes it. Of course, donating if you can. And I see we've got 31 people watching on Rockfin. Rockfin is back. They managed to fix it somehow. So if you want to watch on Rockfin, that's great. Thank you very much to Vladimir for the donation. Vladimir says, hello from Perth in Western Australia. Let me buy you a cup of coffee, friendo. You're very kind. You're very kind. Thank you very much. And I'm going to drink the coffee right now. There we go. And thank you to Nelson for the donation. I appreciate that very much. We also have some donations on PayPal that I wanted to go through. We have one here from Linda. There's no question or note, but thank you, Linda. And we have a very generous donation here from Paulos. Says, keep up the great work. I love your show. Thank you, Paulos. You're kind. I appreciate that. Hold on, there's another donation here. This is from Beer and Flies. Hey, it's good to see you again. Usually I see Beer and Flies donating on YouTube, but this time on PayPal. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. I don't know, guys. This is really just disgusting what's happening in Gaza. Like, they have no shame, the Israelis. I want to just show you again this obscene clip where he's talking about, like, oh, it's a counterterrorism operation. Let me show you something. Hold on. It was Lapid. Yeah. The coverage on the Israeli channels is something, man. Really, I can only laugh. I can only laugh. Wow. Hold on a second. Here's a video from The Independent, and look at the title. Once again, look at the title. You see that down here? Israel and Gaza militants exchange fire. Once again. I have more videos for you from what's happened in Gaza. Give me a second just to pull them up for you. 1 second. This one was... This is a video about the assassination. We already looked at that one. And then there was one... there was one video showing the destruction also that we looked at quickly. But I wanted to look at... the missiles again to show you the volley, because they're saying that until now you had 400 rockets. Oh, I said missiles. Again, missiles are guided, right? Rockets are not guided. Give me a second. Yeah, take a look at this.
هذا القصف عبد الله كويس ان شاء الله كويس عبد الله ان شاء الله كويس تعال.
Sorry, man. It's a bit upsetting. Honestly, it's upsetting to see this in all the time, and I think it's you know, when they're about to do things like an assassination, you know, like they bomb this building or drone strike, they usually do a risk assessment, right? Like how many civil, I think, or they pretend to, just logically. My point is that the Israelis, they likely or probably did a risk assessment, like, okay, we're going to fire at this residential building. How many civilians are going to get hurt from this? 1, 50, 100? Like, how many injured? How many killed? And, I mean, what was going through their minds at this moment? They were like, okay, we really want to kill this guy. Let's wait until he's in a residential building so we can, like, injure 75 people and kill 11. That's the number. Is that what they like how do they, what kind of value do they think Palestinians have? Like, what is the worth that they attribute to them? Do they even view them as human beings? How can you do that? And then they call themselves, oh, most moral army in the world. What? Like, they didn't even wait for him to get in his car or something. Because they said, man, look at this. In Al Jazeera, look what they said. In Al Jazeera, they were quoting the Israelis, right? And they said that they had been there we go. Look at this. This is the statement from the Israelis. So the Israelis claimed that they had been tracking this guy for a while, okay? An Israeli military spokesperson said that its forces were, quote, preparing for the operation to last a week. This is about the bombings that are going on right now, how they're bombing Gaza. And then before, they said that they were following this guy and they were trying to prevent an imminent attack, okay? They said there was an imminent attack. Hold on, let me look this up for you, just because I want the exact quote and just for you to see it and how ridiculous it is. Yeah, I think it's from the BBC, right? Here we go. There we go. Okay. So the Israelis say that he was planning an imminent attack. Okay. First of all, where's the proof for that? Are you going to release the intelligence? Are you going to show just like one shred of evidence? You found a bullet in his car. Anything? No. And then they say that he's planning an imminent attack. Okay, so you were obviously following him. You have intelligence on this guy. Obviously. Maybe you bugged his phone. You're following him. Someone, I don't know, you have someone standing outside his bedroom window. They obviously know where this guy is to assassinate him. They couldn't wait till he just left the building. No. Just fire at the residential building. Do you see how evil that is? I want you to just think about that. Like, the Israelis, they claim they have the best intelligence service in the world, the Mossad. You know, they love to say, oh, we're so tech savvy. You know, we can get anyone from Hamas, whether he's, you know, in UAE or in Europe. We're the best. We can find you and kill you. And then they say we have the most moral army in the world. And they have all this high-tech American equipment and Iron Dome. Look how good our Iron Dome is. Okay, you guys are the best. Sure, whatever. So you're so fucking big-brained and so fucking intelligent, but you can't kill this guy outside the building? What kind of bullshit is that? You want us to believe that Israel has the best army and the best intelligence service, and they're so moral and they have the best intelligence, but they can't assassinate someone outside a fucking residential building? Explain it. Explain this shit to me. That tells you that they don't care about Palestinians one bit. And again, who gave you the right to assassinate him? Who gave you the right to assassinate him? You need to prove. Listen, man, this guy needs to be in your jurisdiction. He's not. You need to start, you know, you need to indict him. You need to have a trial. You need to prove that he did whatever you're accusing him of. And then, if he gets the death penalty, they say they're a democracy. Israel's the only democracy in the Middle East. Where was this guy's due process? Huh? Where was his due process? I'm not saying you have to like him, you have to hate him. I'm just asking a civil question. They say Israel is a democracy. Where was Taysir Jabari's due process? Why did you kill 11 people, including a 5-year-old girl, and injure 75 others? Imminent attack. What imminent attack? Bullshit. These people are liars. They are bullshitting you, and the mainstream media in the West are delivering this to you as if it were the truth. It's not the truth. All right? They always use this excuse of, oh, there was imminent threat, imminent danger, imminent attack. Like, oh, I had to shoot that 12-year-old Afghan boy because he had a radio. There was an imminent attack. I had to kill all these Palestinians. There was an imminent attack. They always, you notice this pattern from the Australian Special Forces, the SAS in Afghanistan, the British SAS in Afghanistan, the Americans, the Israelis. They always have this thing, oh, imminent threat, imminent attack. There's always some fucking excuse to murder Palestinians, to murder Arabs, to murder Afghans. Always. And they are always right. And you always have to believe them. and they are always the good guys. And the Arabs are always the terrorists. That's how it is. Keep drinking the Kool-Aid. Turn your brain to mush. Go ahead. Go believe that nonsense if you want. But it's not true. The Israelis, they took advantage of the current situation to basically send a message about the Iran nuclear talks, okay? And to take out someone that they don't like. That's what it was. That's what it was about. And once again, who gave them permission to do that? No one. Thank you to Beer and Flies for the super chat. Thank you. You donated on PayPal and here. Bless you. And Beer and Flies says, quote, that is their usual BS when they assassinate Iranian officials. They use drones with minimal damage. No. The best one is when they killed that Iranian scientist, Fakhrizadeh, outside of Tehran, right? And they said that, oh, we smuggled in a high-tech robot using AI, and we did it like piece by piece, and it took months, and we are so good. Like, you have to there's no proof, but you have to believe it, right? It's like it's sci-fi. It's sci-fi about how amazing the Israelis are. They're so big-brained, galaxy-brained. The Mossad are super intelligent, and they can do anything. You have to believe it. And man, I want to be clear about something. You're going to go ahead and do all this stuff, You're going to go ahead and murder Palestinians indiscriminately, assassinate Iranian officials, assassinate people in Syria as they did before, and bomb Syria. At least have the common decency to not bullshit us with this. Oh, we are the only democracy in the Middle East. Oh, we have the most moral army in the world. At least save us this nonsense. Save us the bullshit. Right? Oh, there was an imminent attack. Shut up. I don't want to hear it. Rubbish. What garbage. What garbage. No wonder they don't like channels like this. No wonder they don't like independent media, because you can see right through this crap. You have to be a good citizen and go turn on CNN and Fox and BBC and Channel 4 and listen to their news, because those are real journalists, right? They wear nice, pretty suits and they say the truth, right? They would never lie to you. They're not state media. But they just happen to be pro-Israel, right, and pro-NATO, and actually, by the way, the BBC is funded by the British taxpayer, but of course it's independent, and at least it's corporate media, not state media. Jesus, man, with that kind of media, why would you need state media? They got CIA and FBI officials working as contributors. Wow. Come on, guys, come on. At least try to hide it. Thank you very much to the super chat from I can't read your name again. Kapapa. Man, why are you doing this to me? I don't. They say the colonizers say what is and what isn't legitimate resistance. That's true. That's true. If you are, if you're fighting against China, that's you're a real resistance fighter. That you're a good one. We like you for now. If you're fighting against U.S. forces that illegally invaded and are occupying your country, you're a terrorist. We don't like those. I want to say something. Listen very carefully. I know I'm kind of like joking about this stuff. I'm making fun of it. I'm not joking about it. It's real. But that's the point. I'm being sarcastic and trying to give you a glimpse into how the world works and the media works. This is real stuff, like on day by day, on a daily basis, and you see these things in everyday life, right? This racism. Trust me, man. We'll get into that later, but I'm showing it to you on an international scale, right? Because if you blow up a building like that because there was some guy planning an imminent attack, that means you do not consider Palestinians humans, and you think that they're expendable, right? That, it's collateral damage. Like, they're not human beings. Do you see how the mentality works? And they train people like this. They train them to kill civilians because it's okay. Like, the ends justify the means. Oh, it's a bad guy. We had to get a bad guy. We are always the good guys. This one's a bad guy. So we can kill civilians to get the bad guy. And you know what's funny? In the end, the Israelis, the British, the Americans end up killing more civilians than the so-called bad guys that they are after, right? Which we don't even know if they were bad guys to begin with, because I'm sorry, man, Palestinian resistance is not terrorism. It's called resistance, right? No matter how many times Netanyahu or Lapid or Bennett says that crap. So let me just refresh the page, because you guys sent some more super chats. There was one from Concerned Citizen. Thank you, Concerned Citizen. Doggo says, did you see Japan Constitution fascist draft recently? I did not, but hold on. I'm writing this down for myself so I can get back to you on that one and come back to it later. Just a second. And thank you for supporting the show, Doggo. So Marjan says, thanks for the fair reporting. I'm a huge fan. It's truly heartbreaking whatever is happening. Yeah, it is. It is. I really hate it so much. I don't want to look at this stuff. It sucks, man. It really sucks. And you know they're just going to do the same thing next year or in a few months, and it's over and over and over and never stops. This is the brutality of colonialism and occupation. And I want to add another point to that. Like, Fox News and NPR, whatever. They say militants in Israel exchanging fire. That's the thing, man. When you have somebody occupying somebody else and using their land and killing the native population, you're always going to have militants and exchanging fire. You're always going to have this. You know why? Because occupations don't work. They don't last, and they're immoral and wrong. Do you understand? You can't occupy someone without resistance, without them resisting. They're always going to resist. Shah says, love from Ireland. Thank you. That's 2 super chats from you. I appreciate it very much. Bad Fella says, did your Facebook get banned? There's something wonky going on with my page. Yeah, I don't know if banned, but shadow banned for sure. Because everything I post, I can't see it. Other people can't see it. It's like not showing up on their feed, buried somewhere in some cave. It's funny because the number of I knew it was shadow banned because the number of followers also did not go up for 2 years, frozen. So they basically shadow banned my page. I don't know. Alina says, I'm originally from Kazakhstan, living in Sydney, Australia now. Kazakhstan is a beautiful country. Shout out to Kazakhstan and Australia. Alina says, thank you for your brilliant work to keep us informed on what is really going on. Thank you for being part of the community, for watching, and for supporting the show, and for your kind words. It's really just, I don't even know what the right word is. Exhausting. It's expected that they try to feed you this nonsense that, there was an imminent attack, imminent threat. They always do this, and it's such a typical expected trick that they're going to use. And once again, the funny thing is, even if you go along with their nonsense, like let's say you give them the benefit of the doubt, right? It still doesn't justify what they're doing. Right? It doesn't justify I showed you the video, right? Let's say, okay, there was an imminent attack. Fine. What? You couldn't get him before? You couldn't get him after? You had to get him in the building and kill 11 other people? Kill a 5-year-old girl? Is she in Hamas? What are you doing? Really, just heartbreaking. CPP says, watching from New York, unfortunately, can't wait to leave this place. I hope to meet one day and exchange ideas. Shout out to New York, even though I understand your sentiment, and thank you for supporting the show. That would be great. We need to have a peace summit or something like that, right? And we have another super chat over here. Oh, this is from also from Shah. Shah's asking, how does attacking Gaza affect the Iranian nuclear deal? Well, let me just say that in the past, like when I say the past, I mean during the past year and a half, give or take, the Israelis have acted out, so to speak, right? Right when the nuclear talks were taking place. Okay, so that's precedence. And, basically when Nasrallah also, by the way, I should say, this is also another pattern I've realized with Hezbollah. When the head of Hezbollah, Nasrallah, he says something to the Israelis like, don't touch the gas, our gas in Lebanon. Or he says something else in his speeches to the Israelis. They also respond with force, right? They'll go and, they won't, for example, go and bomb Hezbollah or bomb Lebanon. They'll bomb something that they care about, right? One of their allied groups, and somebody related to the organization. And this is the same thing. So basically, Israel is bombing an organization related to Iran, or backed by Iran at the very least. Because when we say related, you shouldn't think that Palestinian Islamic Jihad is somehow like created by Iran, like with some evil henchmen, somewhere in Iran to destroy Israel. No. Why do they always come up with these fucking like fairy tale cartoon narratives like it's for 12-year-old children? Palestinians don't like your shit, and they're resisting, and they make groups, and they take up arms, which, by the way, that's legal. That's their right. They have a right to do that under international law. They're not terrorists. when you have a foreign occupier, like, in Ukraine, they celebrate the Ukrainians for attacking the Russians. They set up crowdfunding for the Ukrainians. You can go and fight in Ukraine right now. They have a foreign legion, a foreign battalion. That resistance, that's lovely. All of a sudden, they love international law because it suits their narrative. Well, guess what? That applies to Palestinians as well. They also have the right to take up arms. Now, that doesn't mean I agree with, everything Palestinian Islamic Jihad has said or done, or their charter. I'm just speaking in general that Palestinians are human beings with feelings, and when you occupy them, some of them are going to resist and they're going to take up arms. It's not Iran with evil henchmen and proxy. What is this bullshit? What is that? Nonsense, complete nonsense. And honestly, the irony is, Israel is the one that is like flooded with weapons from the United States, right? They developed the Iron Dome together. They infected Iran with Stuxnet. They went on a lovely adventure together. They have all American weaponry, jets, you name it. America giving them billions of dollars every year. That's lovely. But dare Iran support resistance groups in Palestine? How dare they? That's their backyard, man. The Iranians, they don't like... let me be very clear. When the Iranians had the revolution in 1979, one of their core principles, core values is supporting the Palestinians, getting rid of the Israeli occupation, making sure the Palestinians get their land back, liberating Palestine. So what? Yeah, Iran backs them and proudly. No one's hiding that. That's not a secret. And so what? That doesn't change the essence, the validity, the legitimacy of Palestinian resistance. It doesn't change that. Whether Palestinian Islamic Jihad get weapons from Tanzania, or they get them from China, or they get them from Chile, or they get them from Uruguay, or they get them from Iran, is fucking irrelevant. But it's not. But the Israelis, they know that. They're just telling you that so you don't ask questions, because in the media they've associated that to mean that, oh, these guys are supported by Iran. Iran is evil, therefore you are evil. Now the thing is, the Israelis want to make sure that they send a message to Iran by attacking a group that it's backing. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That just because Iran backs them, it doesn't change the legitimacy of Palestinian resistance. And on top of that, the reason they're being attacked is because Iran backs them, right? That's the point that I'm trying to make, that it doesn't change anything about their validity. Nevertheless, in practice, the Israelis are trying to hurt Iran by attacking one of the groups it backs. Does that make sense to you? I hope I spelled that out as clear as possible, because I don't mince words. The mainstream media, they try to bullshit you and mince words. I don't do that. I tell it how it is, and I try to tell it as clearly and as simply as possible, because the Palestinian issue is a very simple issue. They just want you to think that it's complicated. It's not complicated. You got people from Europe colonizing Palestinians. That's it. Either their grandparents, their parents, their great-grandparents, they all came there because they believe in a political movement called Zionism that was created in Vienna, in Austria, at the end of the 19th century, right? Published by Herzl. It's a political ideology. They believe that they are owed this land, even though they come from Europe. This is like, ISIS level of fucking insanity. Really. Oh, we have to take this land. Anyone who disobeys us, you hate us and we must kill you and do this and that. It's that level of insanity. Anyway, I want to just go back I want to continue answering your questions. We have another super chat over here. This is from Tony. Tony says, keep speaking the truth. Thank you, Tony. And hold on, I'm going to refresh here. Oh my God, I clicked the add button again. Sorry, not sorry. No, seriously, I need to get one of those clickers, and I'm gonna print out a $sign on it, and I'm gonna show you when I do it. Here, this one's gonna be on purpose. Florence says, thank you, Richard. Thank you, Florence. And Mahmoud, thank you for the super chat. Mahmoud says, Richard, do you think that many of the missiles fired from Gaza are duds designed to deplete the Iron Dome? Shit, that's good. That's good. Fucking hell. Come speak to me after the show. No, seriously, that is good. Inshallah. I hope they are. Let's hope. No, but seriously, I think it's really interesting that Hamas is kind of basically just standing there and saying, yeah, go ahead, fire that shit. Because if Hamas would intervene, when I say intervene, I mean like basically jump in the fight and start firing their own stuff and coordinating with PIJ and basically, turning it into I'm not saying escalating. Palestinians are not escalating. They're defending themselves. But let's say coordinating. Then the Israelis would say, you see Hamas, they can't say Hamas properly. It's Hamas. Terrorists are trying to destroy us. Then they would, basically the noise in the mainstream media would increase even further. And they've already conditioned everybody to know that Hamas is evil, right? So PIJ, most people don't know, so they say, look, it's Iran. It's backed by Iran. Iran evil. And I think Hamas, they don't need to jump into it right now. Just by letting them do it, it's basically saying, okay, and we support you and we're in there, but without getting involved officially, right? Sorry, I don't know if I just going back to your question, that whether they're dead, I don't know, I have no clue. They're saying that 2 Israelis were hit by shrapnel, injured by shrapnel, not killed, but I think they were soldiers. Let me just look up what their statistics are, because another way of saying how uneven and unfair this whole thing is whenever there's a war, you got 99% of the casualties, they're Palestinians and they're civilians. They're civilians, most of them. That's the thing. Hold on, let me just look this up. Because we're doing the live stream while it's happening, so it's we're always getting new numbers, fresh numbers. Look at this bullshit headline over here. Seriously, look at this. Look at this dog shit. They say here, death toll rises as Israel targets militants. Right? They make it sound like, yeah, this is great. Israel is targeting terrorists, and their death toll is rising. This is good. It's at best it's passive. At best it's passive. At worst, it's basically just okaying it. And once again, I would tell you statistics. You have 24 people that have been killed. They are all Palestinians. One of them is a commander. 6 of them are children. Another was a 23-year-old woman. Were they also in Islamic Jihad? Assholes. So they don't tell you, oh, Israel's massacring Palestinians. Israel kills... Look, just the headline of Israel kills 24 Palestinians. They don't put that. If it was the other way around, they would have said, they would have definitely been more clear in their language. I'm just showing you all these examples because they're the mainstream media is riddled with them. So here's where are the Israeli statistics? Are there any? I was trying to find that for you. If there have been any Israeli, I know there are no Israeli killed, but I'm just trying to look for injured. I don't know if they even bothered putting that. If we even have any. No, you've got hundreds of people injured, and they're all Palestinians. So I don't know. Again, forgive me if I don't have the stats. Someone might dig them up for me in a second. But I just want to go through the super chats and try and read them or answer them for you. And again, thank you all for the super chats. We've got one here from Nelson. Says, thanks to your favorite run-off-the-mill president, Iran can have nukes should they choose. I mean, look, man. When the Israelis talk about stopping Iran from having a nuclear bomb, why are you allowed to have a nuclear bomb? I mean, when let's be serious here. A country, so-called country, supposed country, that kills civilians all the time, and then says that they're okay, they're collateral. Do they look responsible? Like they can handle a nuclear bomb? That they are responsible enough to own them? Or have them, let's say just possess them, simply. Look at this video again. How the Israelis, they just shot at a residential building to get one guy, and they killed, again, they killed 11 other people and injured 75. Do they seem like the right kind? Do they seem cool-headed and responsible enough to have nuclear weapons? Who's the threat here? Iran doesn't go around doing that. That's Israel. And yet Israel's the one with nukes and complaining about Iran. I mean, this is so ridiculous. You know? It's insane. And you know, they wanna lecture people about nukes. Okay. Sean says, what made you want to cover the Middle East? I mean, I suppose I have to do my biography now. Well, first of all, my mother's Syrian. I'm born in Damascus, so you know, I come from the Middle East. Well, at least half of me. You know, my father is English. So, you know, just I think having lived there as well, and seeing, you know, what my cousins went through with this war. So I couldn't visit them. I couldn't visit Syria or see Syria because it's too dangerous. And, you know, some of them ended up leaving the country because it became too dangerous, and the things that they went through. And then even just generally speaking, like what's happening in Palestine. How can you not care as a Syrian? It's not even a Syrian thing, really. How can you not care as a human being, right? How can you look at that and not condemn it? That's what Nasrallah said earlier, right? Exactly. How can you look at that and not condemn it? And of course, you know, there's so much going on. So inside my country in Syria, and then in Palestine, which affects Syria because we get hit because we support Palestine. And we refuse to recognize Israel. And then, of course, you know, my parents served in South Lebanon. So that mission was called UNIFIL. So, you know, I know a lot about that through what they experienced, what they lived through. And then UNDOF was the mission in the Golan Heights. They also served there, or my father served there, I think. Not both of them. I think it was just my father. So, you know, so much knowledge that my parents gave me, and also having lived there and having lived in Pakistan as well, which is, I mean, Pakistan is not the Middle East. I hate when people say that, but basically in the West, you know, for them, oh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq, whatever, it's a bunch of Arabs. Excuse you? But just going seriously, like having lived there, I had my own experiences there, right? I told you guys the other day about that bombing at my school. Well, it was the Egyptian embassy, like right next to my school, opposite the school. And when you double suicide an embassy, well, yeah, you're going to feel it in the neighboring buildings. And it was not a nice experience. And Pakistan, of course, later with the war on terror. I mean, when I say later, it's so funny because I was there at the time that this was all being built up, right? Like Al-Qaeda was beginning to form. Zawahiri was obviously getting involved there. So you know, and that of course later, you know, he merged his organization with Al-Qaeda. He was, you know, Bin Laden's number 2, and all of these things in Peshawar, in Khyber Pass, in Afghanistan, and Pakistan. It was brewing up at the end of the Cold War. To become the so-called war on terror in 2001, you know, which officially began with the invasion in Afghanistan. So I mean, it's just all these things, right? Like it's just obvious. This is my area of expertise, if I may say so. Where, you know, this is where I've lived. This is where my parents worked, and yeah. It just makes sense, right? And then when you cover the Middle East, you're covering international relations, because the Middle East is if I may put it bluntly, it's the center of world politics. It always has been, always. This is the cradle of civilization. This is where everything started. Literally, music, farming, writing. You know, I've been to Ugarit. My mother took me there when I was a child, and you could still see the archaeological dig. So this is in Syria on the Mediterranean coast, and you know, this is where the first musical note was found, right? It's the oldest musical note, the first one. And of course, in the region in general, you know, in neighboring Iraq and in Syria, you know, you have the cradle of civilization in Mesopotamia, farming. This is where everything started, and to this day, it remains the center of international relations and politics. I hope that answers your question. And England, being British, I mean, what has Britain not done? Where has Britain not been? And there's not a country that we haven't colonized or invaded. It's funny, like most countries in the world celebrate independence from us, from the British. So when if you learn real British history, if you learn your own history properly, you also learn about a lot of countries, because we violated, raped, pillaged them. Yeah, very nasty ways. So it's all of this. I hope that answers your question. And by the way, before I forget, in Jugarit, where the first musical note was found, it's also the first alphabet, right? I love how we casually forgot that. Oh yeah, it's just the first alphabet. Nothing, no big deal. No, it's really incredible. Wow, and of course I went to Palmyra when I was a child as well. I wish we'd gone back more often, because Palmyra, Jugarit, it's quite far. You don't go there every day. And you don't appreciate these things as when you're a teenager. Even when you're 18, 19, you're still not like... It's when you get older that you appreciate them more and more. And I'm very grateful my mother took me there, and I'm proud that she wanted me to be born in Damascus, because it's the oldest continuously inhabited city on earth, right? Damascus has seen literally everything. Damascus was there. When you go back in time, let's say you go back in time 400 years, you ask someone, what's Israel? They're like, what? You ask them, you tell them about the United States, the United what? You could go back at any point in history, and there's a Damascus. That's how special that is. So I'm proud to be born there. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to cover the Middle East. And I'm just upset. I'm fucking upset, really. Every day seeing this stuff in Syria, in Palestine, I'm upset. In Yemen, it's really upsetting. And what they did to Iraq. I'm very happy and blessed to have you guys, and I'm happy that the channel has grown so much, and that I can have a voice and speak for the voiceless, for people that don't have this platform, but who are whose suffering is muted, like BBC. They don't give a shit about Palestinians. The mainstream media, they're not going to fight for Palestinians. They're not going to fight for Syrians, for Afghans, for people in Iraq. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that for people in Venezuela. They're not going to tell you about sanctions in Iraq. In Venezuela, in Syria, in Iran. It's just these people don't exist as far as they're concerned. Well, I say otherwise. And when I was speaking earlier about British history, British history includes Sykes-Picot with the French and the British. They decided to just carve up the Middle East, carve up Syria, to fracture Syria into many pieces, to share it amongst themselves, like it's a pie or something. The UK did a lot of bad things to Syria and the world in general. So when again, you got to learn. We got to learn our history. It's not a nice one, but they don't teach people about colonialism in school in England, do they? Marissa, it's great to see you. Marissa's asking me, did my PayPal not go through? Venmo already restricted me from donating to you. That's lovely. And I'm hoping my PayPal didn't get restricted too. I don't know what naughty words you put in there. Did you write something about Syria or Palestine that's not allowed? I wish I were joking, but they actually pull your PayPal aside if you put the word Syria or Palestine in there. This is verboten. I got your PayPal. It is here. Thank you so much, Marissa. I had to dig to find it. She says, I love your kefir. Also, again, Venmo has restricted my account from sending you money. Well, I hope your account is okay, and I'm not surprised that they've tried to screw me there. You see, this is another one of their methods, how they silence independent media. It's like, yeah, let's, kneecap you over there, and this, God forbid. I hope there's nothing else. But thank you for telling me about that. I'll look into it, and I'm glad to see you here. I'm glad you caught it live. Joseph says nothing. Well, they didn't say anything. Joseph just sent something. Thank you, Joseph. And we got one here from Seima Hussein. Says Richard the Brave. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and I don't know how long we've been going on for. I wanted to make this a quote-unquote short live stream, but you can never make a short live stream when you're talking about Palestine. There's just so much happening, so much going on. Let me just refresh. Let me look at what the updates are right now, if there's anything new that's happened in the last hour or so. And again, thank you all so much for donating and supporting the program, supporting independent media, whether it's me or someone else. We could really use it, and it's because of you that we can keep doing our job. So thank you. Oh, Kapap finally told me how to pronounce the name. Thank you. Kapap Amchak Wow. As a Syrian Christian, thoughts on Greco-Roman depiction of Christ. Oh wow, this is going to be a long one. No, seriously, I want to say a few things about that. It's first of all, when you go to, for example, anywhere in the West, and they talk about Christ. I mean, they pretend they're Christian. They say they're Christian, but then they're going and basically doing everything that Jesus told them not to do, right? Killing, stealing, occupying. And then you got even crazier nut jobs in the US who think that, like, you have to support Israel, apparently. What? And then so I just wanted to say that, right? That their idea of Christ is really just distorted, and I don't even know what they're talking about. Like, you call that Christian, that behavior Christian, you're mistaken. And of course, just in general, how the West kind of perverts Christ's image and values. It's not something new that happened, from 50 years ago or that is just happening now. This is something that's going back, many, many, many decades, centuries. And, the way that these politicians, like, what was it, Marco Rubio, I think, or Ted Cruz, they say, oh, we have to save the Christians in Iraq and Syria. And then they're basically like supporting the overthrowing of the Syrian government, which leads to what? Leads to ISIS, right? So they're basically saying that we're okay with these death squads, which really just call them that. They're basically fine with U.S. imperialism, which leads to Syrian Christians being killed, Iraqi Christians being killed, to them being forced to leave their homes. And then they say, oh, we have to save Christians there. You don't care about Christians in Syria or Iraq or anywhere, frankly. They really don't. They really don't. Because the way that things were before, I'm not saying they were perfect, but on this matter, if you care about minorities, you leave Syria alone, because minorities in Syria are safe and protected. And I'm not saying only minorities, but specifically Christians. They are the ones that are actually part of the effort to remove Assad and basically remove the protections that Christians get, that Christians are afforded by not living under ISIS. Because let me tell you something, there was a time when Damascus was almost about to fall, and who are the people that were going to take Damascus? It's the nut jobs, the terrorists, the really, really, really extremists, these takfiri jihadists that are funded by the US, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. And let me tell you one thing, they're going to butcher Christians when they see them. They're actually butchering everybody, including other Muslims. So it's not really like they're only targeting Christians. But if you're Ted Cruz, you're Marco Rubio, and you really care about Christians, then you wouldn't be saying, oh, Assad has to go. And again, I'm not saying Assad is good or bad, or that he's not done any bad things before. I'm not saying that he's innocent. But I'm saying on this matter, it's very clear. And they're liars, and they got everything twisted. And of course, this, like, how they make Jesus white. He's from the Middle East. He's a Middle Easterner. He's from the Levant. He's Palestinian. He was not with that complexion that they put in Greek-Roman or any modern kind of Western depiction. Let me just pull up some portrait, for example, or just I'm just gonna type in Jesus on Google and look at what comes up. Look, man, I can tell you he did not look like that. Let's put it this way: he didn't have blue eyes and blonde hair. Okay, so that I'll leave it at that. And we have, of course, some. We have a microphone emoji from Waters. Thank you. Is it because I'm holding the mic? I don't know. Rip Sir Win 1 says you have the best accent and analysis on YouTube. Thank you very much, brother. Wolfgang says thank you for your work. You're most welcome. And I'm going to refresh this because I think some more of you might have donated and I haven't gotten to them yet. So sorry for me ranting. Actually, I'm not sorry, but sorry for me taking a long time. Look, there's one donation that's been sitting here for 2 hours. Thank you, Amin, for the very generous donation. You're very kind, and I'm just going to get back to giving you the updates on Gaza, giving you the latest on what's happening. So, one moment. This is, I think Al Jazeera, the latest we had was 24 that were killed. Now, the problem is that when they say, for example, here that the medical supplies are facing, the hospitals and medical supplies themselves, there's a shortage looming on Gaza. Well, you know what that means, right? When you're a doctor and you can't treat someone with a critical injury, or you can't treat patients in general, some of them might die, right? Some people might rely on medical equipment that needs to be powered, and when there's no fuel coming in to Gaza because the Israelis have stopped fuel shipment now to Gaza, you're threatening people's lives, right? It's not just about, I want to stay up late reading a book and I need this bulb to be on. No, man, this is about serious shit. Transportation, everything relies on fuel, man. I've gone through this a million times, but in a war zone especially, and in a medical setting, this is critical, literally critical. So this is very, very bad. Man, I want to read you this quote. So the director of Shifa Hospital, this is the main hospital in Gaza, he said that medics are facing, quote, acute shortages of medical supplies after hundreds of Palestinians were wounded in Israel's attack. And Israel stopped the plan to transport fuel into Gaza before it struck on Friday, crippling the territory's lone power plant. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, and something I wanted to add, because they say Shifa Hospital. That's the big main hospital in Gaza, and you know what the Israelis did last year? They didn't bomb the hospital; they bombed the main road to the hospital. So basically, making sure that ambulances, other cars, people that need to get to the hospital urgently can't get there urgently because the main road has been bombed. Do you see the really sick things that they do? And don't say, it was by accident. You should have been bombing anything near that. That's what they do. And then you won't see that on the BBC. You won't see that on Fox News. They won't tell you that, of course, right? They won't tell you that. In any case, I really hope it stops because we don't need more casualties, and 24 people dead, man. Even if they say one of them was a commander. Once again, I want to ask you this question, man. Israelis keep saying they're a democracy. Okay, sure, whatever. Where was the due process? Where was the trial? Where was the indictment? Where was the court case? When did you try this guy before you killed him? Before you assassinated him? And killed others as well, at the same time? Where was it? There was none. They bestowed upon themselves the right to extinguish the lives of, dozens of people in their own self-righteousness, right? Like they want us to believe there was some sort of imminent attack, which they give no details on. And they want us to believe without a shred of evidence that this guy was planning it and he was at the head of it. I mean, this is lunacy. Look, man, all I see are blown up buildings, and I see dead civilians and wounded, hundreds of wounded people, and medical supplies being threatened. I don't see any proof of an imminent attack. And once again, even then, how can you argue that this guy under international law does not have a right to resist? How can you say that? You're occupying his land. You are murdering his people. You are a foreign occupier. How can you argue that he does not have rights under international law? Now, this is really disgusting. And, if Russia had done this in Ukraine, I want to remind you that hospital bombing, the media coverage, they were very clear. They didn't say there's an alleged hospital bombing. No, they said this happened, Russia did it, and look at the civilians. Look at that mother. They were very, clear and concise and explicit, and they didn't hold back, and they didn't mince any words. Okay, fine. What about this then? Because I showed you the video. It's very clear, and it was released by the Israelis. They're apparently proud of it. You have in the crosshairs, literally in the crosshairs, residential buildings, and they fire away just indiscriminately killing civilians. And the mainstream media, what do they say? They were exchanging fire. One of them threw a grenade and then the other threw a grenade back. They were exchanging fire. Not, Israel has murdered dozens of Palestinians. Israel is indiscriminately killing civilians. My God, man, if this were Russia and Ukraine, they would be going ballistic already. They would be going ballistic. And yet when I go on Fox News, this is what I read. They say Israel, Gaza militants exchange fire. And when I go on NPR, they say Israel and Gaza militants exchange fire. And they say deadly strikes. The BBC also say deadly strikes, and yet they won't tell us who died. Here's another headline. Israel, Gaza, death toll rises as Israel targets militants. That's a headline from the BBC. I'm very sorry, man. In those crosshairs, those were residential buildings. 24 people killed. 6 of them children. One of them was a 5-year-old girl. Was she also a militant? The 23-year-old woman, was she also a militant? How can you write this passive garbage language and try and justify Israel's indiscriminate bombing of civilians? Once again, if this were in Ukraine, if these were Russian forces doing this, they wouldn't hold back. And they'd be right not to. Man, this is such clear media bias. And once again, how every time the Israelis kill Palestinians or Syrians or Iranians, the media in the West cover for them. Always. And if you criticize them, they attack you, and they lunge at you and try to make you out to be this and that, and they try to distract. They say anything to distract from this, and they try to justify this by any means necessary. It was an imminent attack. What attack? Where? Against whom? Nothing. Silence. You're supposed to shut up and believe the Israelis. You're supposed to shut up and believe BBC. And if you say anything, you're a propagandist. You're spreading Iranian propaganda. Oh my God, how dare I defend Palestinians? Oh my God. If that makes you a propagandist, fuck yeah. I'm here and I've been here. Propagandist. You're the one covering for the Israeli government. You are the guys covering for this blowing up, this indiscriminate bombing of a building where there are tons of civilians in there. And you talk about propagandists? Look in the mirror, man. Propagandists. Wow. They're funny, man. They got some stones. And an anti-Semite. Semite? I'm born in Syria. They look at the Palestinians who are Semites. They look at the Arabs who are Semites and then call them anti-Semitic. Fucking crazy, man. I'm done. This must be a Twilight Zone episode. I must have woken up in a TV show or something. This cannot be real. This cannot be real. Thank you very much, Watson, for the super chat. And Marvin says, Richard Medhurst, appreciate you. You should work for the U.S. State Department. I really wouldn't like that. You know, they wouldn't let me. Man, they wouldn't let me near a microphone. They wouldn't let me near a microphone. If they let me do the press releases and I can speak freely, okay, maybe. But even then, I'm shaky about that. They wouldn't have me, man. They wouldn't have me. You know, to work at the U.S. State Department, you got to be a robot who lies, and I don't qualify for that. I'm sorry. I guess I didn't pass the test. Too bad for me. Again, thank you to everybody who's watching on Rockfin. We got some tips on there as well. Let me just read them for you 1 second. This one is from Denver. Thank you, Denver, and thank you, Jean or Jean. Should I pronounce your name in English or French? They said thank you, Richard. You're very kind. You're very kind. And again, I appreciate everybody watching on Rockfin because you know what happened? Basically, this is, I think, last year or I don't remember. It's a year and a half. You remember? Yeah, okay. July. It was July 1st and in 2020. And Netanyahu wanted to annex more of the West Bank. You remember this annexation plan? And I was covering that like almost every day. And then suddenly, oh, your channel has been demonetized. I wonder why. So thanks to you guys making a ruckus on Twitter, they were forced to remonetize my channel, and they couldn't even put together a good lie. It's something about copyright nonsense. What am I uploading movies? Illegal movies. I'm just speaking, man. That's it. I literally just hear and I speak. That's it. And my point by telling you this story is that there are other places where you can find my channel. Like, for example, right now, I'm not just live streaming on YouTube, I'm live streaming on Rockfin. And with Rockfin is free. I don't do any like paid content or stuff. Rockfin is free. You just need to make an account. That's the only thing. So you make an account and you subscribe. And I think we have, I don't know, how many, 18,000, 20,000 subscribers on there right now. So it's ROKFIN.com. Okay, rockfin.com/RichardMedhurst, and then you can find me there. You guys also told me to make accounts on Odyssey and Rumble, so I made them, and I'm there as well. If you'd like to subscribe, I don't know. Can you live stream on Rumble and Odyssey? Because I'm not sure how to do that. But you can definitely find all my videos. Like whether you go to YouTube or Rockfin, it's all going to be the same. All the same. All the videos are there. And I suggest you subscribe on one of the others just to be safe. So, and again, if Claudia is very kind, she's putting all the links right now in the chat. Rockfin, Odyssey, Rumble, and you guys are, most of you on YouTube. Please let me know if there's a way to live stream on the others, because I'll gladly do it. And of course, if you'd like to support my work, if you like what I do, please consider donating on Patreon. You can donate whatever you like £1 a month or €2 a month, anything you like. You can put in the amount yourself and stop whenever you want. So it's patreon.com/RichardMedhurst. And of course, some of you, as you know, you can donate on PayPal by scanning the QR code, which is right here on the screen. So yeah, if you have any questions or comments, please send them. We've got a PayPal donation from Emilio. Thank you, Emilio. And we have one here from Kat Terrell. Good to see you. Kat Terrell says, truth. And Cortez, thank you for the donation. Cortez says, I keep missing your live stream. I'm so happy you're back, Papi. Well, I'm here. And were some of you here at 6 p.m. CEST? I apologize. I had a very pressing matter and I couldn't be there on time. But I told you guys I'm going to stream, so I streamed. And of course, how could I not with what's happening in Palestine? I mean, I had to do it. So again, just to be clear on the schedule, if you want to catch the live streams, it's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday at 6 p.m. CEST. That means if you're in New York, it's noon. If you're in Los Angeles, it's 9 a.m. You better set an alarm. If you're in Paris, it's 6 p.m. CEST. If you're in Egypt, it's 6 p.m. If you're in the UK, 5 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. All right? I'll write it once more in the chat, and that way, unfortunately, you guys have to hold me to it. But it's okay. Tuesday, Thursday, and then Saturday at 6 p.m. CEST. There it is. It's in the chat. I'm obviously, if I have some other things like interviews or something breaking, I'll live stream in between. I'm not saying I'm only going to stream at those times. So, yeah, there you go. And what did I want to say again? Man, we haven't had a single crab dance, so somebody better join on Patreon because we have not had a single crab dance. Come on, guys. What is this? Claudia, hit me with the latest numbers. Where are we at? We're trying to climb back up. We at the first of every month, the Patreon thing goes down a little, but it's okay. We always recover. Alhamdulillah. So hold on, let me pull this back up on the screen. I think we had give me a second. Claudia's about to hit me with the numbers. And I'm trying to put it on the screen. So, yeah. Whenever somebody joins on Patreon, we play a crab dance. That's the tradition. If you don't know what a crab dance is, I'm telling you, man, trust me, you are going to like it. And it's a celebration. Oh, no, Claudia is sending me the thing. Give me a second. I think we're at, what's the official number? 800 and something? Give me one moment. Man, I'm all over the place. There we go. I got it. Oh, that's great. We hit the goal from last week. But obviously we've got another goal. Here we go, guys. Check it out. We are now at 862. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant. All right, so 862 subscribers, and we're trying to get to 900. So, look, we've got 1,300 people watching. I'm sure that we can hit that goal right now and get at least one new crab dance. So, if somebody signs up on Patreon, guess what? I'm going to play a crab dance, and everybody's going to enjoy it. And we are really, really, really close to hitting the goal. Just 38 members away. So, we just need 38 more people to sign up, and we will hit the goal of 900 donations, subscribers per month. We've got Kitty that just edited their which just doubled their monthly donation. So thank you very much, Kitty. I appreciate you doing that, and I hope somebody else signs up as well. We've got, 38 more people left to hit the goal on Patreon. And again, if you want to support my work, you want to support independent media, even $1 a month counts. And we've got Mark who's just joined on Patreon. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Kitty. And I'm going to play a crab dance for you guys. Let's go. As promised. Let's go.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard.
Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead. You have fucking crossed the line. Claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Cut that bitch off.
Thank you for Iron Dome, which is a technical marvel.
والله انت كلاب بصراحة يعني ماشي نشتغل عادي.
We lied, we cheated, we stole.
China.
And you ain't black.
There's always the macro and then there's the micro.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
You talking to me?
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'll have two number 9s. The number 9 large.
we got him.
I told myself, I know it's not.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Why you texting? Why? You're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay. Okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
Lovely. Sorry, I'm always sneaking off to kitchen to get something to drink. I'm trying to hide what it is. Don't worry, it's not alcohol. This is a kid-friendly show. We just cuss here, nothing else. Thank you very much, guys. That's amazing, and I appreciate you very much. I appreciate you guys signing up on Patreon and supporting the channel. I'm really grateful. Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Kitty, for supporting everything that I do. Hey, I just remembered something. I love when you have a merch. So I'm somebody who has a lot of merch and forgets to even promote it. I swear to God, I go by like 10 live streams and then, oh yeah, that's right, we have merch. Hold on. I'm so proud of these because Mona helped do most of them, and actually all of them. But I came up with the idea for this one. This is basically my way of calling Joe Biden. Basically it's Uncle Joe's Rainbow Coalition death cult. Why do I call it that? Because the Biden administration is like, oh look, we're so diverse. We have a black guy heading the Pentagon who kills black people and other people around the world. And we look, and by the way, who also was a board member at Raytheon. No conflict of interest. And look, we have a woman. We have a woman heading the Treasury, meaning she also heads OFAC, which puts sanctions on other women around the world and, of course, makes people's lives hell. Hey, look, we have a black press secretary, right, who comes and gives you propaganda from the White House. Hey, we're so diverse. We have a black we have a female and black vice president, right, who is basically well, I don't need to give you her history in California, but the policies of the White House speak for themselves. So, these neoliberals, they try to pretend they're diverse, but they're not diverse. The policy is the same, and they are ironically hurting the very same communities they pretend to represent. It's like the CIA saying, "Oh, look, I'm not kidding. On Pride Month, right, in June." The CIA actually posted something on social media saying, look, we celebrate Pride Month. Dude, the CIA, this is just a few decades ago, the CIA had a manual on how to find out whether someone is gay and blackmail them with that. Like, yeah, this is what it is. It's Uncle Joe's Rainbow Coalition death cult. And that's the merch that I made with Mona. And it's store.richardmedhurst.com if you want to get it. I'm sure Claudia is putting it in the link because she's very kind. So thank you, Claudia. And yeah. Okay. I actually have hold on, down here, I have this one. The long sleeve tee. And when I should have known that when I put it online, it's going to sell out because I wanted this one, the hoodie. And you guys sold it out, which is a good problem to have, I suppose. But still, I'm mad at you. And hold on a second. By the way, I've got new stuff coming, like really, really funny stuff that I've cooked up with Mona. I have this one too. Where's the lion? The lion T-shirt. That's my favorite. Especially because this month is August. What does that mean? Oh yeah, baby. Here we go. Leo. So. There we go. That's the lion. And, me and Mona, we're both Leos. We're both born in August. And, of course, Leos can't help but to say that they're the best. No, but seriously, we just made it because we like lions and we're Leos. And I'm basically Richard the Lionheart. That's how it is, right? And she made that for us, and it's really cool, and I love it. And Mona is amazing. I hope you're watching the stream, Mona. She's really good. She tries to be modest and all this stuff, but no, she's amazing. She's really good. She did all of this stuff, and she's the best. This one, for example, I didn't draw this. I just came up with the idea, and she brought it to life. She did all this from just a few sentences that I gave her, and it's amazing. So yeah, thank you, Mona, and thank you to everybody who's supporting the show. Obviously, I'm showing you this stuff because I'm hoping that you like it and that you want to support the show, and yeah, and we'll have more soon. So there you go. I'm trying to sneak in some more sips. Hold on, I didn't even drink it. I opened it and didn't drink it. Like, hide behind the mic. I speak for a living, so I have to drink, right? I saw some of you were asking how to buy it. Okay, I'm gonna tell you the link and type it in the chat. It's store.richardmedhurst.com. There we go. That's how you can buy the merch. So, just JC said, drink water, not heart attack juice. Okay, fine. I have water over here. You're right. I get it. Cat Terrell says the lion is Rasta. Well, not really. We use the colors, the Arab colors, actually, right? So, we got two versions, I think. We made one with the Arab. Yeah, here it is. Look, it's the same thing with the hoodie. It's the same design. So we put the Arab colors there. You know, black, red, green, white. I made a video also about why these are the Arab colors. I'm so stupid, man. I should have plugged my merch in that video. I should have said like, oh, and by the way, you can get those colors on this t-shirt. No, I'm so stupid. Why didn't I do that? That would have been the perfect opportunity. But I'm not seriously. Go watch that video. I think you'll find it interesting. And you know, many Arab countries, it's true. Most of their flags have these colors. Even Arabs forget which flag is which. Like, why is that? Is that? Is that Palestine or is it? Which one is that? No, obviously you wouldn't mistake the Palestinian flag, but you might mix up some others, because you know the Palestinian flag is that's it. We all know. Gaddafi, he had Libya's flag is green, just green, you know. And okay, I'm not gonna tell you the whole story. Go watch the video. Don't be lazy. Okay, guys. So again, I saw some of you sent some more super chats. Give me a second to just read them. And we got one here from Ellen. Ellen says, Richard, my super chat message was not sent. I was forced to edit it. The Zionists are scared. Keep fighting, Rich. Oh, you bet they are. You probably wrote something naughty again. You wrote Syria or Palestine. Marvin says, J Lives Matter, no one else does. 20 million a day from the US. Well, I think if I understood correctly, you're talking about Israel getting $20 million a day. Again, I wouldn't do them a favor because they want you to think that Israeli means Jewish and Jewish means Israeli. No. Like, we should not allow them to hijack an entire religion and then, you know, because that's what Netanyahu would do. He would come on and we are the only Jewish state, like as if, you know, there are no other Jews anywhere else. And, you know, being Jewish means you have to have an Israeli identity. Look, man, Judaism is one thing and Zionism is another. You know, Zionism is a political ideology. It's not a religion. It's not a race. It's not an ethnicity. It's a political ideology that was created in the late 1800s. That's it. There's nothing. It's no secret. It's Theodor Herzl who published it in Vienna. That's it. And you know, they've all just decided to adopt it. It's not a religion. It's not an ethnicity. So we shouldn't allow them to like appropriate the Jewish identity. You know, because it's like with you know, let me just give you an example. It's like with Qudus Day. You know, you have those protests that are held, and you have many Jews that come and protest against Israel. So obviously, you know, it's those two things are not the same thing. I know you know this. I know. I wanted to rant about that because it's it's egregious. Here, let me show you something on the screen. I don't know. Let me pull this up. Here. Look at this. These are. Am I saying it correctly? Natori Jews. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, or Nature. So, you know, they're against Zionism. They're against Israel. So, you know, it's not the two things are not this, are equal or the same. I just wanted to point that out, because Zionism is basically it's a political ideology. You should be free to criticize it, just like you can criticize any political ideology, right? I think it's Natori Karta. Is that how you pronounce it? Somebody please correct me in the comments. I apologize. I'm not good with that pronunciation. I don't know how to pronounce it properly. You also have, by the way, there's another organization, Jewish Voice for Peace. You see, again, that they're against Zionism and against Israel. And Look here, this one of you said in the chat, if you go to a Palestine protest in New York City, the Orthodox Jews from Williamsburg always support. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you. And I appreciate how precise you were geographically speaking, and that's great. That's great. That really underscores my point. And Sherry says, we also have many Orthodox Jews out here in New York and Toronto, who I'm assuming your point is that they are against Israel. Yeah, that's it. So again, it's really important to understand this, because they want to make it like a religious issue, and so it's not religious. It's about politics and colonialism. So thank you very much. Wow, we got a whole bunch of people sign up on Patreon. Oh my God, thank you very much. We have Elaine, Randa. I'm only saying your first names, don't worry. We have Al-Mustafa, we have Elaine, we have Randa, and we have Melanade, who all just signed up on Patreon to support the show on a monthly basis. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate that. And I'm going to play a crab dance for you. I'm sorry. I'm compelled. I'm bound.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you have fucking crossed the line, claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Cut that bitch off.
Thank you for Iron Dome, which is a technical marvel.
والله انت كلاب بصراحة يعني. ماشي نشتغل عادي.
We lied, we cheated, we stole.
China.
And you ain't black.
There's always the macro, and then there's the micro.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
You talking to me?
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'll have two number 9. Number 9 large.
we got him.
I know it myself. I know it's not.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Why you texting? Why? You're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay. Okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
Here I am. I'm here, boy. Yes, everything is okay, guys, and thank you again. It's more than okay. I'm happy to have you. And we also got a donation on PayPal. This is from loading. It's from Joanne. Thank you very much, Joanne. Says thank you for everything you do. My pleasure. Well, I mean, when I say my pleasure, I'm not taking any pleasure in the things I'm saying, but yeah, the stuff's depressing. Let's put it that way. Anyway, guys, I'm so grateful for you guys tuning in, coming, and watching. And please remember to share the videos. Educate people in your social circle. Send them out wherever. It's a collective effort, right? Each person that tweets this out, that posts it on Facebook, it builds up, it adds up. and more people see the videos and learn something and get their eyes open. It's that's all I can say. And I want to be very clear, because we were talking about Patreon. I don't do any exclusive content, or like you don't have to pay anything to unlock anything. I don't do that crap. I come here, I speak for free, and if you want to donate, thank you. If you want to support the show, thank you. It's I don't do any paid stuff. I just I want this to be free and accessible to everybody. Okay, so and when I say that, that means you guys have to also help me make it accessible, like send it to people. I don't know, just getting this out there is a collective effort, and I can't do it without you. So thank you guys for supporting the show in that manner. Thank you for supporting the show also financially, so that I can actually continue doing this. Because one of you was saying, Marissa was saying, they locked me out of Venmo now. I have no clue what's going on. I have to go check that out. But yeah, if you want to support the show, it's PayPal, Patreon. There's Bitcoin and some other Ethereum. I don't know how to pronounce it. And other ways you can support. And if you guys want to watch me on another platform, it's Rockfin, Odyssey, Rumble. Again, all free. All of it's free. So, guys, please share the video. Show people what's happening in Gaza. Show them what Israel is doing. Don't let them get away with this shit. Don't let those motherfuckers get away with it. They have the mainstream media covering for them. They have the whole mainstream media apparatus, the news machine, the media machine covering for them. Don't let them get away with it. So I hope that I can open some people's eyes, reach out to them, change their minds, educate them, because really the stuff that's happening, it's indefensible. You got 24 dead Palestinians, all 23 of them, 22 of them are civilians, 6 of them are children, and there's 0 dead Israelis. How the fuck is that a both sides thing? And you got hundreds injured in indiscriminate bombings. What if this was happening? If this were happening in Ukraine, and the Russians were responsible, the press would be unequivocal about it, right? They'd be very explicit. They're hiding and covering for Israel. Don't let them get away with it. And by the way, if Russia were doing that, they'd be right. They would be right to be explicit about it and criticize Russia. And right now, it's happening in Gaza. But they're not being explicit. They're hiding, covering up Israel's crimes. So, again, thank you guys so much for watching, for tuning in. I appreciate you very much. And the next stream will be, as I told you, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday at 6 p.m. CEST. By the way, I have some special guests lined up in the next days. I'm not going to spoil. Hopefully it works out, inshallah. And I'll tell you as soon as I know what time they will be, okay? So that's a good reason to follow me on Twitter or have your notifications, the bell thing on YouTube. Because if I write a message in the community tab, you might not get a notification on YouTube. So make sure you hit the notification thing. I see there's only, I don't know how much, 19-20% of you that have it on. We need to climb up. So thank you guys very much. I'll see you next time. Take care and ma'asalame. And all right, that's all. That's basically it. Bye bye. Thank you, Claudia. Take care. Ma'asalame. Claudia's posting the links in case you need anything there. She's posted Twitter, Substack, Patreon. And yeah, the Substack is basically the email list. Anyway, that's my cue. Take care, ma'asalame. Bye-bye.
I am once again asking for your financial support.
A is for
all men and women created by you know the thing.
B is for
I'm beginning to see why your wife left you.
C is for
Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
D is for
Don't worry, I'm so serious. Children, I love to hear them.
E is for
An excuse to walk by the dealer and say, no, I'm not going to be a mule. I got something to do. I got to go do boom, boom, boom.
F is for
Time friend, and she's a friend. She's been my friend in and out of public life.
G is for
Go to Joe 30330.
H is for
hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down.
I is for
I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
J is for
Just look at the record.
I have President Biden, Vice President Biden.
Well, I tell you what, if you look at my record and you still doubt about my commitment, then you should vote for somebody else.
K is for
Kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
L is for
The lion, dog, face, pony soldier.
M is for
Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone. Make sure the kids hear work.
N is for
NATO.
O is for
The only African-American woman that's ever been elected to the United States Senate.
P is for
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
R is for
Rest her soul, and although she's your mom's still alive.
S is for
Send a text to the word united.
T is for
Truth over facts.
U is for
Union workers, the UAW took incredible cuts in their future.
V is for
I'll vote for somebody else.
All right, thanks so much.